Hey guys, so with herbs and spices, we know that herbs and spices get lumped into some category, but they're actually quite different. So herbs, you might remember, originate from what type of locale? The temperate, such as up right here in Michigan. So we actually have an ideal climate for growing a lot of these nice herbs. Whereas spices tend to originate and be grown in what part of the world? The tropics. So when it comes down to it at the end of the day, most of what we're going to discuss today tends to be that the spices are derived from the leaves, because remember, herbs, it tends to be leafy, again, flavorings that we use, but sometimes we do use the seeds as well. So while we tend to think of herbs as exclusively leafy, that's not fully true, because sometimes the seeds are also included. So let's get down to it, guys. I'm going to start here with probably the most commonly recognizable of most of our herbs, again with these 4 temperate herb families, and that is the mint family. Just a nice recap from lecture. What did I say was the most amazing notable feature of the mint family? Well, there's a lot, but one of those amazing features is indeed the square stem, which actually becomes most apparent on basil. So if you look really closely at that stem of basil, and it kind of will mirror what you guys saw with the microscope slide in lecture, and that's going to be that amazing square stem. That's one of the really notable features of mint plants, is that nice square stem, right? We also mentioned that the leaves tend to be opposite and alternate, and as you look at this nice mint plant here that I cut from my garden, here you can see what I mean by opposite leaves, where you have these 2 leaves that are attaching at 180 degrees, and then you'll also get them right here. Okay, so that's that opposite and then alternate leaf attachment that we see with the mint family. What was the third feature of the mint family, other than it's obviously very aromatic? It's that it oftentimes has flowers directly borne right on the branch axis. And that's what you guys see here with many mint family members. Let's briefly talk about a few representatives that I'd like you to learn. Rosemary leaves. People either love them or despise them because the terpenes contained within have a lot of the same terpenes that we'd actually find in the Pinaceae or pine family. So as it would be, that is kind of an interesting representative of the mint family. Most mint families don't taste like that. Again, folks, common names are fully expected with learning these various herbs. Oregano. Folks here, you probably like pizza, right? Oregano leaves, the bitey flavor of that is what owes to the excellent flavor of pizza for those of you that enjoy it. Basil. What would Italian food be? What would a Thai basil dish be without various forms of basil? It's a very important culinary herb of the mint family. Sage, it's funny, most people only recognize sage during Thanksgiving because it's one of the components of stuffing, but that's unfortunate. Sage actually has some medical utility, such as, you have a little bit of gingivitis or sore throat. Sage is really great for that. It is one of the 4 sacred plants of various native tribes as well. Thyme is an awesome spice not to be underestimated. This is just a small snippet of the mint family, folks, or the Lamiaceae. Do recognize that there are a multitude of other members, but in sake of kind of giving a nice overview, I'm going to end the discussion here with the mint family after I briefly point out that of all the mint family members, the name of the family, the genus Mentha, from which the family is named, mint, is indeed the most widely used of all of our aromatherapy products. So hopefully y'all brushed your teeth today, right? You might have followed up with a little bit of, let's say, floss or mouth rinse. Chances are the toothpaste itself was mint flavored. You can see the utility there. A lot of us that don't have time to brush quickly after a meal might rely on mint gum to freshen one's breath. It absolutely does. Also, a lot of different creams involve mint, whether trying to alleviate chest congestion or whether trying to alleviate a sore muscle. Menthol is the active ingredient in these. So mint is so important for a wide variety of medicinal purposes. Of course, it's one of the more popular herbal remedies as well, sold in a capsule for treating IBS. Okay, so it is good at helping at some level treat things like gas. So let's move on to another family that actually also helps treat stomach discomfort and gas, and that is the parsley family, also known as the Apiaceae. Some of the features of the parsley family you might recognize from lecture, guys, are these amazing flowers. These flowers that we talked about in class are called what again? These are called a compound umbel. This is the one that you'll find on wild carrot, and it's not unlike the one from this family from dill. These would have made nice dill seeds had I not cut them from my garden first, okay? So here's the nice compound umbel. Also, you'll notice we have highly dissected leaves. So check out that highly dissected leaf. And then certainly right here, you see the same thing with parsley. This is some parsley from my garden. Again, you can see here why this is so named after the parsley family, as parsley itself is a very common cooking herb. Now notice here in this family, we also consume a lot of seeds. It's not just the leaves. So whether the amazing fennel seed, which is good for digestion, again, coriander seed, which is actually the seed of cilantro, go figure, and these couple seeds here, such as celery seed, and the ever so delicious cumin seed. If you like Mexican food as much as I do, this adds excellent flavor to that. Now, when it comes to the leaves, there are a multitude of important leaves and seeds that we can also be using. One of my favorites out of this family is cilantro. Okay, cilantro has a nice bitter, pungent flavor. It actually increases your appetite a little bit. So I always say a really good salsa, we'll put that in there because then you'll eat more and they'll sell more. Dill, the actual leaves here taste fantastic. We use the seeds as well in pickling. Probably one of the most unknown uses of dill is medically. There's a homeopathic preparation that some pediatricians will consult their patients to use for infants that suffer from colic. Okay, and then finally parsley, like we saw here, this is fresh parsley leaf that I just cut from my garden. Parsley is widely used in culinary dishes throughout the world, especially in Mediterranean food. Now, one of the common day-to-day items that you're likely to find in your house that might involve this family is undoubtedly the dill pickle, right? What would a veggie burger or a hamburger be without a dill pickle? Answer, it wouldn't be as good. Okay. Let's move on to a third very commonly enjoyed family. And this is going to be our lily family. So with the lily family, you're going to want to look over some of those characteristics when you look at those nice parallel veins, for example, the three-parted flowers, etc. I'm going to get into a few examples right now. Speaking of flowers, starting with that beautiful crocus that gives us saffron. Saffron, you might recall, especially if you zoom up close here, is the world's most expensive spice, hands down. It's tempting to ask why it's so expensive as you guys looked at the figure I presented in lecture. And I think it's because we realized, as I point at this one here at the top, what is this derived from the plant? That's right. It's from the stigmas up top here that my finger is directly on, as well as the style that runs alongside of it. So as you guys can imagine, stigmas and styles are essentially weightless. So it takes an appreciable amount to actually harvest saffron. And because it is hand harvested and it's only harvested for a couple weeks out of the year, that makes it the world's most expensive spice. In fact, this box right here, you can see on the side, it says an ounce of very high quality Spanish saffron. I had to take a second mortgage on my house to buy this box. No, I'm kidding, but I'm almost not. That's how expensive saffron is, but it's worth it. It tastes amazing. Let's look at onions now, okay? Onions, we're gonna look at a little bit later this semester with our Starchy Staples Lab in more detail, but onions, like you guys know, are highly modified leaves. Inside of this are those amazing storage leaves that impart a nice pungent flavor to many different dishes and very common of the Liliaceae. Certainly very well known to make us cry because it institutes lacrima factory in our tear ducts. Garlic. Remember garlic, folks. This is one of the most popular of all the flavorings that we get from the Liliaceae or lily family. This is a highly branched corm. This is stem tissue. And so what we like to do when we're cooking it is to release it fresh. You'll peel these non-photosynthetic papery storage leaves on the outside that protect it. And then this beautiful stem tissue on the inside, you'll crush it immediately before cooking. And that releases the flavors, and that also releases the health benefits too, as far as the wonderful compounds in garlic like allicin that are shown clinically to reduce our cholesterol levels modestly. Chives. Chives are one of my favorite go-to flavorings. If I'm in a pinch for a nice quick meal here, and I want to have a nice little garnish of green, chives just add a lot of nice flavor that's reminiscent somewhat of the onion, okay? Now, what are some common day-to-day items you're likely to find from your lily family around? Number one, anything garlic flavored, right? These days, you can find garlic flavored, let's say, crackers, garlic flavored pastas. You get the idea. Garlic is super, super popular. What else is popular? A mint family member too, right? And then back here, garlic salt. It's like the staple of every kitchen, right? You just want to add a little flavor really quick. Garlic salt's where the money's at. Now let's get to our fourth and final temperate herb family, and that's going to be our mustard family. These are impregnated with really strong pungent mustard oils that are extremely volatile. What are some characteristics of the family? Again, like we talked about in lecture, it's these amazing cross-shaped petals. Okay, the old family name was Cruciferae. Now it's Brassicaceae, but that's because Latin, the crucifix meaning cross, here you see the perfect cross-shaped petals. That's what you guys look at here. What's another big feature of this family? Here they are from arugula. This is kale flower on the left that's nice and yellow, and on the right here's the arugula flowers of this family. And that is a reminder here, the mustard family has these amazing fruits here called siliques. Revisit that term if you will, if you've forgotten it from your fruits lab way back when. Siliques are a very common type of fruit. There's also silicles, but I don't have any of those handy. I even picked a kale leaf just as a reminder that all the peppery flavors that we come to love with the mustard family, whether arugula or even the nice peppery flavors in there, are very typical of the mustard family. So a little bit less pungent mustard family member is going to be mustard itself. Okay, there's black mustard, there's white mustard, and the seeds can be ground then to make the very popular condiment, which let's review again. What's the coloration in this from? Turmeric, right? But this is actually, the main ingredient here is going to be the mustard. Also, we have things like horseradish. So if you like Arby's and they've got that horsey sauce, that's horseradish. And then Japanese horseradish, better known to you folks that like sushi as the condiment wasabi. It's actually one of the more difficult vegetables to grow, but it's worth it because you get those awesome mustard oils in it. So again, nice recap of the 4 herb families that we're talking about here, where we get most of these products from leaves, but occasionally other parts as well.